a 4:30 Psycho accountability call. The whole goal here is we go live for 10 minutes. We're in the challenge. We're holding ourselves accountable. This is Rob, and Ron joining me today. We can have 10 people join us at any given time. If you want to join, just let me know. If you're seeing this as a recording, this was live this morning, Friday. What is this? Friday the 30th, something like that. Anyway, the QR code will take you to the 4:30 Psycho tracker, allow you to track your time, it'll email you results. Do that for 30 days. You'll get 90 days in the morning, shift your day away. I tell you guys, we're in real estate. I'm in real estate. We're in a business where a lot of the people that assumably are at the top of the mountain show off their success by the volume of deals that they do. And I laugh at it because, I wrote a book a couple of years ago that made fun of the volume success without the profit. And for me, this whole lifestyle framework allows me, I'm at the top of my mountain with my son. I'm home at 5. I hang out with him in the morning. I barely work on the weekends. It's kind of unheard of, in the real estate space. So that's like, I'm achieving a phenomenal success. I'm not doing 500 deals a year, but I'm making good money. I know a lot of us are in that same kind of thing and pursuing the same kind of thing. This morning, Rob Commadori is going to show us. Rob, why don't you set it up? Tell us what you do, this presentation you do with your accountability partners every year. It's super interesting and can't wait to see it.
Yeah, so if I can get it on here, I got to share. I hit the share screen, but it's sharing individual screens. I don't know if it's going to share my whole thing, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, so just know this is an actual 45-minute presentation, which we're not going to take 45 minutes to do. I'll give you the Cliff Note version of it. But I have two buddies of mine. We've been getting together for 12 years. And what we do, we go through Darren Hardy's Living Your Best Year Ever journal. And we started the beginning of the year by setting up the year from the previous year. In other words, what did we do last year? What were our wins? What were our losses? What were our 10 greatest happenings? And so the importance of this whole thing is tracking throughout the year. So it's like a journal. And so week to week, we journal and we track. And we have a phone call. We have a 30-minute phone call every Monday morning. And each of us takes 7 minutes to say, how did the last week go? And then we give 3 minutes of feedback. So again, each one's allotted 10 minutes, and you do that and you move on and you're done. So every other Friday we meet for, it used to be 2 hours when we first started. Now we're so efficient. It's about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 20 minutes that we meet in person, except for COVID. But we get together and we talk about the previous 2 weeks in more depth than just a 10-minute phone call each. So we each get 20 minutes to present and then maybe 10 minutes of feedback. So and then what we do, and halfway through the year in June, we go away for a couple of days and we do a mid-year review. And at the end of the year, we do an end-of-year review. And at the end-of-year review, we spend the first day going through everything through the year, what our wins were, gratitude, losses, what we could do better. We may pick a word of the year, talk about that, talk about resistance, what's held us back, how could we do better. And then the second day, which is really cool, my wife thinks it's corny as all hell, and so does, I guess, all the spouses do. But the second day, we are accountable for providing or preparing a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation for each other for the year. And it's really cool. I'd encourage anybody to do it. It takes a lot of time. I put about 12 to 15 hours prep time in it. And you might say that's too much work. But to me, there's nothing better than being able to look back at your year and say to yourself, man, what did I do with my family? What did I do with my relationships? What did I do in business, finances, lifestyle, physicality, health, all this stuff, right? It's 8 different areas we go through. And what did I do? And it's easy to say, okay, I can remember what I did in December, November, October, September, but it's very hard for people to do if they don't track it. What do you remember from January, February, March? Unless you track it, or unless it's something really big that you remember, that's easy. But if it's some of the smaller things that are meaningful, you might not remember them unless you have them tracked. So I'll go through it real quick. Ron, I'm going to hit the share button. I don't know what's going to happen here. I have no idea. So I've never used this platform, but here goes. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's asking me to share. Okay, yep, we got it.
Okay, here we go. So And to make it even a little more cornier, what I'll share with you is that we call ourselves, we have superheroes. So I'm Thor. So if you're looking at my screen right now, you see Thor on there, right? Is that what you see?
I see listen to the Chisel podcast for people who.
Oh, well then I don't know. Okay, I don't know what I did here. Then I hit the share button. I don't know how to get my PowerPoint on here. Then I go to talk.
Well,
to me.
go back out of share, and then when you hit share, I think it has screen or like program. So I think it gives you some choices.
It says select a tab to share or the entire screen. So I hit the entire.
Yeah, there's Chrome tab. Hit window. Do you have two screens or just one?
I got one screen up here now.
Okay, so if it says Chrome tab, pick one of the.
It says Chrome tab, right, which gives all the tabs. I see that. Then it has window. Hit window.
Try window and see if you see the window that has that.
Let me see what happens. Okay. You see it now? What do you got?
Well, hang on.
Like I'm sharing right now. What do you see on your screen?
We're seeing your screen. We're seeing the restream.
What do you see? So you see year end 2023 on there?
No. Why don't you go ahead and just explain it to us? Just tell like go through and just tell us what your like some of the
So what happens? I'm real sorry about that. I should have warmed this up before we did this. But anyway, so like I like I'm looking at my screen right now, and like year end 2023. So one of the corny things is we call ourselves superheroes in our own lives. It's our own story, and so I'm Thor, right? Because I can drop the hammer. And so I got my one buddy. He's the Hawk. He's every bit of 130 pounds, soaking wet. So he's David Banner. But when he gets serious, he turns into the Hawk. And the other guy's Captain America because he saves the day for everybody. But anyway, so we got the year end, and so I start the presentation by finishing up last year because we do this in December, beginning of December, mid-December. So I finish up the year, going into the new year, and we talk about gratitude. So, I mean, Ron, I'll whip through this because I know we have a couple minutes here. But so simple things like family, you know, what did we got a new dog last year, and my wife says, she says to me, she goes, "Who rescued who?" We rescued this dog last year, but I think he's brought so much joy and so much peace and so much happiness to our family. Not that we weren't happy, but that we just had this new addition, and he's awesome. So, you know, we talk about the family. We talk about how the year ended. And like my buddies and I, we went to Nashville. We finished our year in Nashville last year, and we had a great time. And we present to each other, but throughout the year, you got to understand. You call this accountability, Ron. Doing this accountability piece here, getting up 4:30, doing this. We call each other out. There's tears, there's frustration, there's laughter, and there's no bullshit. I wrote my book in 2019. It got published, and it wouldn't have got done if it wasn't for this group. Because for 4 years, I said to the group, one of my big goals for the year is writing a book. And so it was like 2013, 14, 15, and 16. I said I was going to write a book, and I didn't do it. And what happened was, as we're sitting down at the end of the year, and we're going through losses, because you have to talk about your losses. I started to go through my losses, and I sat there and said, "Guys, as you know, I haven't written the book yet, right?" I didn't even finish the sentence. And my one buddy says to me, he goes, "Rob, hold on a minute." He goes, "You're either lying or you're full of shit, because you've been telling us for 4 years and you haven't done this yet." And I'm looking to the other guys to back me up. And I said, "Mark, help me out here." And he goes, "Rob," he goes, "You've been saying this for 4 years. That hasn't happened." And the other guy looked at him and he shrugs his shoulders and he says, "What do you want me to say? You know, if you're going to do this thing, then do it." And so in that moment, the funny part was, this was in my place in Deep Creek. And I'm like, "You guys are calling me a liar in my house," right? So the Italian in me wanted to jump across the table and smack him around a little bit, but he was right. So what happened was, Ron, it's interesting how we're on this thing at 4:30. That was the day that I said, I'm going to commit to doing this. And so what happened was, January the 1st through June the 23rd of that year, I got up 4 a.m. every morning. And from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. I wrote. And I wrote and I finished the manuscript June 23rd of 2017 because I allocated 1 hour every morning to specifically writing the book. So anyway, the stuff we say we're going to do doesn't happen unless we hold each other accountable. So again, we went through the last year, and Ron, I don't know how much time you want me to. I'm going really quick here.
I think because of time, I think we got the concept down pretty good. I'm writing my last book, which has been my fourth book, and I have a chapter where I'm going to talk about coaching. And I think a lot of coaching programs are flawed, like extremely flawed, because it's a business for them. And they onboard you, they take a look at your income. If you're doing good income, or have a big team, you're gonna be spending a couple $1,000s a month, maybe for coaching, right? But if you can't hold yourself accountable to adjust, you're busy, you're unorganized, your profit's not high, or it's gotten lower. You got to fix some things. But you might go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months without doing anything. You could be spending thousands of dollars a month not doing anything if though simply you cannot hold yourself accountable. So I think, that's pretty cool that Darren Hardy's stuff, like you actually read it and did it. Most people probably just read it and like, oh, wow, that's, it's kind of corny or whatever, or, and you guys have embraced it and it actually made you, bump ahead in a lot of things in life, writing that book. I remember seeing you and you're like, yeah, I'm writing a book. And I was like, I remember thinking, yeah, Rob's been writing the book forever. My first one was 2 years, because you don't know how long it's going to take. And it's just like you're forming it and everything.
Well, you go through that imposter syndrome thing, Ron. Like you don't think you're good enough, smart enough, or anybody's going to want to read your stuff. I don't know if you went through that, but I
go through the complete opposite. I get to where I believe I'm somebody I'm not. And then it takes me to that. I have the complete opposite. I'm too stupid to think I'm an imposter. I'm stupid enough to say I can do this. I can fly a plane. I can, whatever. Real quick, because we don't want to make these calls real long. Ron or Rob, do you do something pretty out of the box like Rob does to hold himself accountable to his family and his work and all that kind of stuff?
Ron, you first.
No, not to that extreme, but I appreciate the level of detail. As you were telling me that, I was thinking about Ron and I were actually talking yesterday. I find this funny, Rob, Ron. If we find anybody else to join this, we're gonna have to find them in pairs. But we were talking about doing something. I'm also in the real estate space with Ron as well, so I guess that's a trend with names. So. But we were talking about something that I wanted to accomplish, and I was doing this last year for, a period of time with Ron as well. And I wanted to revisit that same thing. And he was like, hey, I don't mean to call you out or anything, but he goes, you talked about this last year. You didn't really do it. Like you're going to do it this time. And I was like, huh, yeah, you're right. I didn't. So, so yeah, accountability happens when you share your goals with somebody else, and they believe in accountability enough to hold you accountable to them. So, and I believe that was your way of doing that, and you have to call somebody out on it. And sometimes maybe it is, just that little challenge to make you, either prove someone wrong or get it done finally, right? Like, so.
Yeah. And real quick, and at the core, before you can hold yourself accountable, you have to be honest with yourself, right? Like that's like being honest at the core of what do I really want? Do I, like a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to be, this, or I want to be that, but they're not being honest because they're never going to do what needs to be done. And it's just not going to happen. So like getting up at 4 or not drinking alcohol or getting to bed by 9:30 or all of these things I don't like doing, I do them every single day. And then I am that guy, I become this, highly accountable person to the things that are important to me. Hanging out with my son is by far more important than having a lot of volume to show off that possibly isn't even profitable, which our whole industry does, So.
Right.
But it is profitable. It's profitable in its own intrinsic way, right?
Well, no, look,
Yeah.
look, I've
And
been
you
there.
meant not monetary profit, but it's valuable, right? Like, so that I
Our
think that's
industry is plagued with the only way that they rank you is by your volume, and we all know, and I know specifically because I was a coach and I've been coached and I've networked with coaches and I've studied and I've written about that the bigger teams, a lot of them don't make money at all. The team leader does not make money or makes a very little bit of money before they fix it. There's very few teams because you can't recruit people at the splits that you really need to stay profitable, right? So you get all these people on board because you give away splits, and then you bring in all these resources, and then you're getting all these awards for the biggest in the the city or the county or the state, but you possibly aren't making any money. Like on the flip side, the last few years I've been doing this since my son was born. I am the richest guy in the world, not from a money standpoint. I get home at 5 every single day. I barely work on the weekends. I hang out with my son in the morning. There is so much richness in our relationship, and I'll never lose that. So it's this working amazing. Am I on the stage getting doing 500 transactions, which I've been there before? Absolutely not. But I laugh at that a bit because I've studied it. I understand not everybody up there is making a lot of money as it appears to be.
Right.
And Rob, what about you, bud?
Yeah, I just a lot of it's just a soft accountability where I've worked on over the years, just the discipline of things, and a lot of it really started off with the early AMs, just getting started and getting ahead of the day. And over the years, a lot of you mentioned about the success. A lot of the success has been like during COVID, reshifting and making sure that the family is the priority. Many people have an active family. We do too. So it's I wouldn't say anything unique, except the focus has always been towards the front end of my day, but not at the same level of commitment that that we have like with this challenge. So and Rob mentions about the you mentioned about being honest. Rob mentioned about awareness. It's I find that there's a lot of my self-talk is revolved around that. So I'd say some of the success or uniqueness to me would be like the self-talk and getting the day started early versus waking up later and being behind the day. So I don't know how unique that would be, but it's been a game changer.
Hey, Ron, can I throw one more thing in here real quick?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we use this word accountable, right? And as much as I love that word accountable and holding each other accountable, there's a word that I like a little better, and it's called it's holding yourself capable, right? What are you capable of doing that you're not doing? And if you hold yourself capable, man, I think there's even more to do, further to go, because you're capable of so much more than you think you are. So I like to hold myself capable.
And I'll end with, I think about this all the time. I do not have it. Like, there's people in our business that can't explain their success because they got the look. They just got it, right? Like, people want to work with them. They're attractive. They're like, they call it branding. Hey, like, I'm this model looking person. I've branded myself because, they don't know how to explain it. I have grit. Like, I have to do things like this. I have to find time. I have to find 3 hours in the morning to work on things. I have to write books to elevate sort of the equity in what people think of me. You know what I mean? Like, I have to like really work super hard to get to success that comes, and I'm writing about this as well. It's a mental trigger. Beauty is like this powerful trigger, right? Like, so I need things like this. I need the grit. I need to hold myself accountable to work extremely hard to get to levels of success that might come easier for people, if that makes sense. So I've accepted that. And a lot of, when you batch a lot of people together that are successful in different ways, everybody gets there a different way. Mine is through like really hard work or smart work, right?
That's great.
Anybody want to end with a thought?
No, this is great. I'm sorry I couldn't get that thing to work there, right? But we'll figure that out.
Hey, another time. So great seeing you guys.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow morning.